He was sick with cancer. I took care of him. As young as I was.
A 12-year-old losing a parent, who told you that dad is gone?
I was the last child my dad talked to. And he told me to take care of my mother. It was tough because by the time dad died, mom had sold everything. God, in a miraculous way, just sent an angel. And she's told, please educate your brothers. Ensure that you take care of them.
Family Dynamics, the only show on the globe that goes deep into family, the vicissitudes, the ups, the downs, the goods, the bads, the uglies, the joys, and everything about family. It's a place where you're going to get healing, you're going to get affirmation. You know, you're like, family yangu haija cheesy sana. You know, you'll get some joy. Today on set, I have an amazing, phenomenal human. I don't know if he knows, but I really look up to him. I like him a lot, and then he likes me back. So it's very great to have pastors who like to pastor you. And so, ladies and gentlemen, my pastor, Reverend Nelson. Woo, woo, woo! Mafans wanakujua aje?
They call me Pastor Nelson.
Pastor Nelson?
Yeah.
Okay. Hawajui mafuta imeshuka zaidi. Okay. Pastor Nelson, you're welcome.
Thank you.
You aren't always a pastor?
Yeah. Not always a pastor, but I would say that I have been in ministry almost my entire adult life.
So all this time in corporate, you are still in ministry?
Yes.
Okay. There's no one who's looking at you and be like, umse tulikuwa tunamjua siku za...
Absolutely no.
Oh, wow.
You know, I got saved when I was in class 7.
That's 13?
That is, I was 12 years. That is in 1987.
Okay, guys, do the math. Remove all the calculators.
And I just got very passionate. My father actually had just passed away.
When you were 12?
When I was 12. And it was very devastating.
Yeah.
We were very close with my father.
Yeah.
And he was a preacher. I used to do a lot of missions with him. So when he passed, I was very devastated.
I want to take you to the top.
Yeah.
Let's rewind.
Yeah.
In this family, when you were born, who did you find?
I am a fifth born in a family of 7.
Okay.
So we are 7 children. I am number 5.
Yeah.
3 girls, number 1, 2, 3 are girls. And then from there, it's boys.
4, 5, 6, 7.
Yes.
Boys.
Yes.
Very interesting. Sijaisikia your order. Nasikia your order mahali, mimi sijaisikia.
So that's how it is.
Uh-huh.
Born and brought up in a Christian family, as I've mentioned.
Yeah.
My dad, I've grown up, the little time I spent with my dad, I knew him as a preacher. So we did quite a bit of church with him. And for some reason, he had this special liking for me.
Every sibling would say that. If you're his sibling, please comment. I know everyone thinks they have a special relationship with a parent.
Yes.
Until I always thought I'm my mother's favorite child until my sister gave her a grandson. And now I'm trending at a strong number 2.
All of a sudden.
So are you sure you are the favorite?
The good thing is he's not here to confirm. Sadly.
How can you make such a joke?
Sadly.
Let's talk about this.
Yes.
Because this is a family dynamic.
Yeah.
You are 11 when he dies, right?
I think, no. I had just turned 12.
Okay, so take me through a 12-year-old losing a parent. Who told you that dad is gone?
He was sick with cancer. So I took care of him. As young as I was, forgive me if I get emotional because I have never recovered, so to speak. I still cry sometimes when I remember.
Safe.
But I was we were very close. That at that age, when my mom was not near, I would help my dad. He was bedridden for some time, but we were close enough that I would dress him. When people would visit him, when people visit a sick person and sometimes they want to give him something, he would give me to keep for him.
You are the trusted one.
So I know there are times when you would, maybe mom needed something like this, no sugar, and he would call me, give your mom 10 shillings. Those days.
What name did he used to call you?
They used to call me Nero.
Nero. Yes, Nero.
Yes. So I would keep his money. And then I remember when he went the last trip to the hospital, I was going to do my exam. It was July towards the end. We were closing second term. And we were ready to leave. And then he told my mom to call me. Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. Don't be sorry.
So I was the last child my dad talked to.
Yeah.
And he told me to take care of my mother.
Those were the last words he said.
Yeah.
Yo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's just take a moment to think about that, because that you carry for the rest of your life.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's something I never knew about you, honestly. As you lead us, as you love us, as you lead funerals, and you do such a, I don't know, your voice, your stature, it's just always so comforting. But here's the 12-year-old you, having to carry the burden to take care of your mother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I still remember after we had just we that day we were going to start exams, and then we closed school, I think on a Friday. And when I came home, my uncle, who had gone to see him, he came carrying a brown envelope. And he came, I still remember him holding his hands at the back. And he came and gave my mother that brown envelope. My mom opened it, and inside was Dad's towel. And I saw my mom cry. Yeah, and I knew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Immediately. What does a 12-year-old know about death?
Of course, growing up in the village, we would see these things.
Yeah.
As in,
Pasi unalia vizuri. Unajua ingekuwa mimi ningekuwa hivi. Unalia yani na decorum. just on a light just to,
yeah, so I think, of course, growing up in the village, you would see, grandfathers, die, and somehow in the village you would see that used to be grandfather's house, now imebomolewa because he's gone.
There.
So I knew I've lost a friend. And I really used to pray. I remember just before Dad died, There's a time I had a dream. I had a very vivid dream. My dad rising up from the bed and walking. And somehow I had this expectation
That he would.
that he would rise up and walk again. So, yeah, it was devastating.
As you continue to grow older, did you think about that dream? Because when you've said that, what I've thought about is he rose and went to his father. He did, you know. Did you ever think of it that way?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I think many years later, I still wish he was around.
Right. Right. Is there any wrong with that? You know, many people who are grieving
No.
don't know how to actually just say that. You know, like you want to be spiritual, you want to be like God took, you want to be, you know, like you want to say it is well and it's not well. You know, all these things that we say. Let's talk about it.
You see, and of course today being a pastor, you know, we deal with a lot of grief. You know, yesterday I conducted 2 services. As in, you do one, rush to Langata, we buried and came back for another one. We interact with a lot of grief, and I appreciate grief, you know, because the moments people die, there are dreams that are buried with that person. You have no idea how I wish, you know, my dad would see me preach.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Just like him.
see my children.
Right.
One time I organized a mission in my home area, and I went to preach. It was an interdenominational mission, and I went to this church where I had been allocated to preach. And after I preached, one old lady came, she greeted me, and then she told me, you know, in Kikuyu, ora hujia ota Jemudi, you know, they used to call him James. My dad was James. He told me, you are preaching just like James. I know, of course I felt nice, but I wished, you know, it would have been nice for him to see me do what he loved doing. I think the part I would have wanted my wife to meet my dad.
Right.
I would have wanted my children to meet their grandfather.
Yeah.
Every time we go home, I still, you know, in the village, you hang those framed photos. I still show my children, you know, this is my dad, you know. I would have wanted him to play with them, just to. So I still feel, of course, that's something I cannot achieve. But
Yeah.
that's what it is.
So how does the family dynamic change
Yes.
from having your dad going through the motions of burial? I know some people are very casual about it, yet
Yes.
you're grieving, and they are saying you have how many days? 5 days before you laid him to rest?
Yes. Yeah, the usual in the village.
Did you understand those processes?
I think I was a smart young boy.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah. So I understood everything.
Did you speak at his
No, I didn't. I was very emotional. But there I can be very emotional.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's who I am.
Yeah.
So I was very emotional. So I could actually not, I broke down. So as they were covering him, they had to take me away. But what of course was very heavy on me is that Dad told me to take care of my mom.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, how am I going to take care of her?
Yeah.
How am I going to make my dad happy? At that point, all the children were somewhere in the school system. You know, I think our firstborn that time, she was in college. The other one who was in school was the third born. She was in Form 5. My elder brother was in Form 1. Here I am in Class 7, and my younger brothers, just a few years behind me, who are all in school. So I was wondering, how am I going to take care of my mother? So later, of course, I went to high school. I went to Kagumo High School. I think Mom talked about Kagumo High School. And wow, it was tough.
Yeah.
It was tough because by the time Dad died, Mom had sold everything. Those medical bills, she had sold everything, yeah. She had sold, including Dad's bicycle, including his shoes.
Yeah. On family dynamics, you were looking to see the role right now we're at 12 years and we are moving now to high school. Try to figure out, how does a family survive when Dad is gone? Mom has 7 children, all in school. And I'm looking at you sitting there, and I'm like, and I know your life, and I know your wife, and I know your children, and I'm like, God, if God told you this was your life now,
it's hard to believe.
It's hard to believe.
Very interesting that if my mother, I wish she would come for this show.
She needs to come.
The greatest woman, that woman.
Yeah.
She loves God. She's a Christian.
Amen.
Mom tells us that she prayed and told God, "You'll be my husband." She said, "God, you said that you're the husband
to the
widows, and the father to the fatherless." And she prayed. She tells us that is what she prayed. She told God, "You'll be my husband." And of course, she struggled with us. I struggled. I went to Form 1, it's a struggle. My brother is in high school. My other sister is in Form 6 at that point. There's nothing to sell. I have seen my mother sell the sufuria she uses to cook, to educate us. But that woman has faith. And God was very gracious. I go to high school, and they see this young boy, very passionate about God. And I find this, I got to high school when we had the last Form 6 group. So I am finding these big men with a deep voice, with beards. And here I have with a sharp soprano. And just passionate about God.
Amen.
I remember the first Sunday service we got there, and they said, "Form 1s, is there anyone who would want to come and give a testimony?" And I shot up, very tiny. I was very short, very tiny. I went there, said, "Praise God," with a very sharp soprano. And from the first day, people started calling me pastor. Actually, me, I was not molested.
Yeah.
Because I had protection everywhere.
Amen.
Those Form 6s could not send me to the shop. They would always tell me, "Please call somebody. Pastor, go call me somebody to get me bread from the tuck shop." Very interesting.
She might do.
And I became the CU vice chairman in Form 1.
I thought that's a role for like a Form 3.
Thank you. I became the CU chairman in Form 2. So I was the CU chairman in Form 2, Form 3, and Form 4.
In CAGS?
In CAGS. of course, what was interesting was that in Form 2, things became so hard. I had to leave school because of school fees. And the church, the CU prayed. Their chairman can no longer continue with school. And God, in a miraculous way, just sent an angel. I remember one lady from our village went to our constituency headquarters, and they met with the local MP. And the local MP said, "Oh, how are you? Huko kwenu kuko aje?" He said, "We are okay, but our boy, has stopped school. There's no school fees." So when she mentioned my name, the local MP knew because I was very sharp. So when he mentioned the name, he said, no. What's how much is it? You can guess how much it was, 2,500. But that time it was impossible to raise it. As in, there was nothing else to sell. We had sold our last cow when I was joining Form 1. So now we had sold everything, the fleas, the jembes, the shees. There was actually practically nothing else to sell. So I stayed at home. And when this guy when he heard that it's 2,500, what he did, he just did a check, 2,500. So she comes home, and I see a check, Office of the President. He was an assistant minister that time in the Office of the President. So I saw Office of the President, Honorable N. Mayani, 2,500, Kagumo High School. I cried, So I went back to school. He did not stop there. That time my sister, the one who was in Form 6, now she was staying with a relative here in Nairobi. She was doing her accounts, Universal College. I don't know whether it's still there. Yeah. And the MP sent for her. He says, "Come to my office." And she goes to his office. I don't know where it was, but she went there. And this MP calls the guy who was the provincial medical officer in Nairobi and says, get a job for this girl. I need her to educate and take care of her family. So she gets a job, and guess, that was in 1990. Guess how much she is paid? She's paid a whole 4,000.
4,000?
My goodness. I think it was unimaginable.
Tunasemanga umetoka block, like your all your poverty, all your issues are over now.
And she's told, please educate your brothers.
Wow.
Ensure that you take care of them. And educating she did. So from that day, I would go back to school with a money order.
Wow.
Full school fees.
Wow.
And then even with pocket money, I would have a 50 shillings for pocket money. That is something I had not enjoyed. As in, where do you even get pocket money from? And as they say, the rest is history.
As you speak, I remember my desk mate in school. So my parents used to give me 500 before half term, 500 after half term, which was a little money during my days. So my desk mate was crying one day. I'm like, Kainini pole. It's like my mom has given me 3,000. I was like, how much? Yeah, she gives me 5. I'm like, I give the kwa mwizi.
Just to before that time, I remember when I went, of course, to Form 1, first term we are given midterm, and I go home for midterm, as in it's midterm. And then when I get home, my mom had deposited 30 shillings in the Basar's office. And I did not withdraw it. So I just withdrew it when we were going for midterm, and then went and did shopping for her. Because I knew there's no soap at home, there's no sugar, So I did a shopping. Thankfully, those days, things were not as expensive, So I did a shopping with a 30 bob. Now, little did I know, she had no money for my fare back. So after midterm, I stayed at home. she tried to get a place even to borrow. There was nowhere. And my home is about 50 or so kilometers away from, I can't walk. So I escorted, there's a boy, we were from the same school in the neighborhood, so I escorted him. And so I met with this lady who asked me, why are you not going to school? So I told her, we couldn't get fare. So she came home, and she was a treasurer of this women's group, the chama. And she told my mother, let the boy go back to school. Hii pesa ni wa mama. Hata wao wamezaa, those village women, hata wao wamezaa. We will look for a way of replacing it. So I got a 50 bob that helped me go back to school. That was the last midterm I did up to now, the time that my sister got a job. Wow. I would always stay in school.
Wow.
Nabia mwalimu, mimi wacha tunapewa food and there's accommodation.
Yeah.
So
you never used to go home?
No, we'd just stay in school.
Wow.
Lakini Mungu ni
nani? Mungu ni nani? Now,
yeah.
This, did you and your siblings ever talk about what you've been through? Like, as a family, do people sit down and like?
Yeah, we sit down and talk about our mother.
Okay.
That woman is a woman of faith. Mom is so strong that I was actually talking about her today in another setup, in another setting, that even the time that my sisters have gotten married, of course now without a dad, my dad's brother later passed on, so we were in that space where, she was the head of the family. My mom took charge of our lives. I remember as we grew up, she would always tell my sisters, one of the things none of you should ever do, and she would talk about it, none of you should ever be married as a second wife.
She used to say that?
She would tell them.
Oh, do you know where her thoughts are coming from? Because that's a deep conversation.
I don't know.
Has anyone ever talked about that? Like what?
She would tell them, and forgive me for using the term that she would say, I don't want you to be Gedokia. Gedokia is the spoiler. Don't go spoil somebody's family.
Okay.
Yes.
That's
don't go
something
spoil.
I've never had anyone being told directly.
So she would be very, by the way, and she would tell them, thankfully, none of them ever became a second wife.
Yeah.
And then when they were being married off, the way people gather, and then you have to appoint a man to come and speak now for the family. Because I would always be there, as a young man, she would say in Kikuyu, woko niko wakwa, hapa ni kwangu. And then she would give the instructions, what this man can say and what he cannot say. She would tell them, when those people come, don't ask for this, don't ask the way they are, receive them. I don't want you to disturb them whatsoever.
Where?
And if I see you disturbing them, I will stand and talk.
That's a real threat.
Yes. And so my sisters, they've been married off, very wonderful relationship, courtesy of my mother.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. You being in Kagumo, you're smart. You're number one. Like, that's a really good school. It's a national school.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where do you go to after that?
So after that, I went to KU. Yes, KU people. Now, something interesting that my teachers wanted me to go do architecture.
Okay.
In fact, a small group of us, they made an arrangement and brought us with the school van all the way to JKU Art. That time it was JKU CAT. Mm-hmm. It was College of Agriculture and Technology.
Okay.
It was I think it was part of KU. And there were a lot of guys who are in Kagumo who are studying architecture there. And they wanted us to come see those labs. And of course, those days, there was no these softwares. So people used to draw houses using those big rulers and, So I remember meeting some of those guys and seeing how difficult it was. They would spend nights. And sometimes you draw and then your lecturer says,
no,
repeat it. And it was very manual. And I told myself, I am not going to do architecture. Because I had already developed a liking for missions. This time I'm in high school, I did a lot of missions. And I told myself, I am not going to do a course that will make me not go for missions. So I visited those guys. I interacted with the guys who are doing civil engineering. And I said, this will make me a slave. I want something that will free me. So I selected BCom. Though I had a very strong B+, I had qualified to do all these others. My teachers really could not understand why I was choosing BCom. But at the back of my mind, I wanted a simple course that will give me time to do missions.
And it did.
And I went to KU, and my time was spent in missions. I would come from one mission, change, go to the next one. Sometimes come and I'm told, we have a cut, and I would literally run, do a cut, pass, go to the next mission. That's how I spent my time in KU. And now what happens, I'm in KU, and then I get, the people I find in KU, they were my officials when I was in high school. In fact, the guy I found as the CU chairman in KU, he had come from CAGS. And while he was in CAGS, he was our secretary. He was my secretary. I was his chairman. So you can imagine now I come and now he is the CU chairman of KU-CU. And straight away I get into the leadership of the KU-CU.
So good.
So that was my life. From first year all the way to the fourth year. By the time I was in fourth year, I was the CU treasurer.
Yeah, mtu wa BCom of course atakuwa CU treasurer.
Yeah.
Kuna watu uliona hapo? Watu.
That's definitely a good story. As you know, I'm very sociable.
Yes.
So I had a lot of friends, a lot of girlfriends, many of them in terms of people, Christians who are doing missions. We did a lot of missions. I remember one time again, I hosted another mission at home, and we had these, girls, of course, it's a mixture, but there was this specific girl that my grandmother told me, "Oh, huyu sikubali aende." So, because, yeah, so I had a lot of friends, but being in the leadership, the CU leadership, there was a discipline to it that I was not specializing in one.
That's so good. You are socializing, not specializing.
Yes. Until towards the end of third year, I met this girl that we served in a committee of the executive committee. I met this girl and I just loved her. And this girl later became my wife.
That's why you met.
Just like that. Yes. So we served in a committee. We had this subcommittee that was formed to help the needed people of the Christian Union. So I'm the CU treasurer. And then she was co-opted into this committee. So we would interview the members, and those who would contribute and then share, with those who did not have. So we had this subcommittee that was managing that. Yeah, and I just loved this girl. She had a heart for God.
She has a beautiful face and a beautiful voice as well.
Yes.
Tell us the truth.
Yeah, she has. So now, so we became friends, and I realized that this friendship is definitely more than all these other friends. Yeah.
What was special about it for anyone? The people who were in that situation where hawajui kama wako ama hawayuko. What were the things, the two details?
I think knowing the kind of a person that I was, I really wanted somebody who was a Christian. A Christian as in somebody who loved God with all of her heart. And at the beginning of campus, and I think I would want at this juncture to introduce a man who came into my life while I was at Kenyatta University. I met a gentleman who was a best man to my sister. A man that opened his life for me. He literally opened his life. And this man became the dad that I was longing for. This man invested himself into me. I spent time with this man. I spent time in his house. Actually, people started saying that he actually would introduce me. This is my firstborn. The children actually believed that this is a firstborn who has been away. Now he has come back home. That man poured himself into me. And one of the things he told me that I should plan and marry when I'm young.
Okay.
I think that's a story for another day.
But that's deep.
But he told me that I should get married when I'm young. So at the back of my mind, out of the influence from this man,
Yeah.
I would mention his name.
Yes, please.
And he passed on recently.
Yes.
Samuel Mote.
Yes.
This is a man that really shaped the person that you see.
Yeah.
He poured himself into me. So I told myself I would want to get married by the time I'm 25. So at this time, I'm getting to the 4th year. So I am starting to entertain the idea that I can actually love somebody for marriage. So this girl shows up into my life, and we do a number of missions together. I think the thing that made me know that this is it. There is one time she was very sick and she was taking some treatment that required her to see a doctor every day. And she said she will go with me for this mission. It was someplace in Bomet. We went for that mission, and when we got there, the first thing we identified, she had these medicines, these injections. We had to look for a dispensary where she will be going in the morning. She gets the injection, and then we go for door to door. I said, wow, what manner of love is this? She loves God with all herself.
Yeah.
And you know her.
I have the honor of her leading me in our women's ministry group. So it's such a joy. So we celebrate you so much, Beatrice. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Wow.
Question. There's something you mentioned that maybe people don't even know that they have. You said there was a longing for a father.
Yes.
What was that?
You see, my dad was very intentional. I still remember Dad would very regularly hold family devotion. You know, he would call us, we would sit, we would read the Bible, we would pray together as a family. And then when he is going to, Dad would be very intentional. He would come to school and visit with every class teacher, asking how we are doing, what support we need. Teachers would come to our home because he was that intentional about every of his children. So you can imagine what I lost, and really, my mom, she would do her best. As in, we would have very strong conversations. But kuna kitu.
Yeah.
Kuna kitu you want to discuss with a man, and especially being a man. So there was a very, very deep longing, especially my journey in high school was very difficult, because there was no man, nobody. All this time we are struggling with school. I didn't have a reference point.
Yeah.
And you see, now here I have become a leader. So I had a lot of giving without receiving. So everybody respects me as the CU chairman, the teachers, including the headmaster. There was a lot of respect around me. A small boy, very short, very slim, because I had a very small stature. But within me, I needed somebody I can reference to. And this man, when he showed up, he was very intentional with me. I saw something that I used to see in my father, because my dad would go with me for missions. I did not understand what it was, but later I see. Later I see. My dad was very intentional about the things he used to do. He would talk to my mother, and then again I used to see people come home for consultation. He was like a man in the village. People would come to consult. So I used to see that. So when he left, I was in a space, that empty space, where I had a longing of seeing. So when I met Brother Sam, I actually saw like a reincarnate of my dad.
Yeah.
He was this kind of a guy that in the estate, in Car West, people used to come to consult with him. Many times people would come, families are fighting, they would come for reconciliation in his house. And, I just saw Dad, a younger version of Dad.
Love it.
So I used to really want, and then we would sit down, we would talk. We would talk a lot of adult stuff. So by the time now I'm in that space, finishing campus, I was a fully grown man.
I love it.
I was ready. I was a man. I was still very young, but I was a man. I was ready. And so at 25, I got married.
So you did what you said you would.
What I said, and I am so proud about it.
We celebrated a Silver Jubilee.
Yes, we did our Silver Jubilee last
35
year.
years, Kwandoa. Let's go to the family dynamic of being married. You get into career. Where did you don't have to say where exactly you worked, but if you're comfortable. But you get into corporate.
Yes. So I got into, by the grace of God, I was able to get into corporate almost immediately after I graduated. I went to do volunteer work with this, now my second dad. He was managing some church projects someplace in Kibwezi. So as I was hunting for a job, I went to support him. So I was there like for 1 year. And then I got this opportunity to come back to Nairobi, got into corporate, where I worked. My first employer worked like for 1 year. Then I was doing a contract job. Then after that, I got into what they used to call those days permanent and pensionable. Worked there for some time, and then later transitioned into the UN, where I worked most of my life. I did like 18 years.
So guys, listen to this. So mshahara ya UN to mshahara ya pastor.
I'll tell you something.
Tell me something.
When I was in Form 4, my local church, I come from the Presbyterian background. Yes. My local church came to see my mother, and they wanted to ask if she would allow them to take me to Bible school.
Wow.
Actually they've come like 3 times, really wanting me to go to Bible school, so that I may become, a parish minister.
Terry.
And as I told you, I have done a lot of preaching all this time.
Right.
Fire for Jesus, I knew it in my heart I will become a pastor at some point. It was a matter of
time.
As in high school, they would call me pastor. By the time I got to KU, pastor everywhere. So I knew it is going to happen. While in the office, for some reason, at some point I worked in Somalia for 7 years, and those Somalis would call me pastor. I don't know how they knew what a pastor is. But I knew at some point I would want to spend time on full-time basis to do the work of ministry. So for me, being a pastor I wanted to do this when I'm strong. While I was working, I think I have done ministry. I have done ministry. In Sitam, I think I became a church elder when I was 34 years.
Wow. So
I served as a church elder. I retired when I was people thought I'm still very young to be retiring. Ministry, by the grace of God, I have spent my life doing ministry.
Yeah.
But I wanted to do ministry on full-time basis when I'm still strong.
Yes.
So around 2015, we started having this serious conversation with my wife. I need to resign and go to Bible school. Difficult conversation because we have 3 children. Of course, there is that thing of, hey, we need to educate the children. But at some point, it became impossible. I had no peace. I think 2018 is actually when I knew that things have come really. This has to stop. Because I was working for the Somalia mission based here in Nairobi, and they came and told us we have to go to Mogadishu. And I knew this is it. I'm not going to Mogadishu. So I went to AIU, took the forms,
finally
filled them up,
finally.
And I came and told my wife, I'm going to Bible school.
Just pause. To you, you're not seeing what I'm talking about. I think there's the aspect of the right partner in this dynamic, because me, if I was living that life, accompanying spouse, all those nice things,
26 years down the line, I can tell you that my wife has remained true to what I saw. That woman loves God.
So much.
She loves God with a passion. We have spent our life serving. We spent our life together serving. I know we have done some crazy stuff, hosting missions. I remember at some point when we were building, her prayer was, please build a big house, because we host missionaries. Our house is a missionary house. There are times, don't ask how, there's a time we hosted over 50 missioners. Yes.
Kwa nyumba?
Yes. We have gone with very small children for mission. I remember there's a bishop who used to call my car, ile gari imeokoka, because that car has gone for missions in places.
It has received Jesus itself.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I can tell she does this she loves God.
Yeah.
So her love for God is personal.
Yeah.
So when we are doing ministry, it's not like I am putting it on her. She loves it. So, and she knew, even for this time we are having this conversation, she knew not if,
When?
it's when. Yeah,
But
so when I came with the forms,
Yeah.
she knew
The time has
that
come.
time has come.
What changes in the life? So, just you don't have to share details, but Dad has transitioned to ministry. He's now going to be a student,
Yes.
and life has. What changes?
God has a very interesting sense of humor.
Tell me.
Because I sign up and I'm supposed to go on Monday for orientation. I get a call on Saturday, a Saturday afternoon. I get a call from a lady we worked with. She was that time, she calls me from Abuja. And she tells me, Nelson, I've heard you have left work, you've left work, but please, I need you to come to Abuja for 2 months. There's something you must help me. Now, this is somebody we had worked with before.
So, as a consultant.
Yes. So she told me, just come 2 months, fix the problem I'm having. And I had done an assignment there in 2016. So we had some. So I tell my wife, and she says, no, just go and help her. So within that week, I was supposed to go on orientation. I was in a plane heading to Abuja. So I go for 2 months in some, the work we are doing, working in a war zone. So I go to a place called Maiduguri, where the Boko Haram are fighting, and they needed me to set up, some offices there. So I went there 2 months. I came back, and now I had already lost the semester. So I knew in January I will go and restart school, and we are good, ready to go back to school. And then over Christmas, get another call from Abuja. Again, the way I connect with people, so there is this another lady, we connected very well. And she tells me, Nelson, I'm going on maternity leave. Just come and hold for me.
What's happening? Is this the Lord or the devil?
Now, so again, we are wondering, But then God does something interesting. I meet this lecturer. He tells me, you go. I will get some courses. You can do them online.
Wow.
Of course, those days there are no online.
Yeah.
That time is actually, he sends me homework on email. I do it. I send it. He sends me notes to read. That is what online was.
On email.
That time, on email.
Yeah.
So I'm in Abuja. I thought I'm going for 3 months. After 3 months, she calls from the States and she tells me, I got some complications. The baby, story short, she has extended her maternity leave for another 3 months to have to stay in Abuja for another 3 months. So I just come for 2 weeks, go back. What I thought actually was going to be short, I ended up doing 4 years. Within those 4 years, I ended up doing 4 years.
3 months.
So I would go, come back. Go, they call me, please come back. They were all short contracts.
Right.
Come 2 months, ended up doing 4 years. But God did something interesting. Within those 4 years was COVID. So when COVID happened, so I flew back. I did not want the lockdown to get me there. So I come back here, and everything is now taken back to online. All universities, they are properly teaching online.
Yeah.
So I did my Bible school, the whole course during COVID. I did not attend a physical class in AIU.
Hey.
I graduated without going. In fact, I remember when I went to clear, I had to clear with the library. I had to ask, library iko wapi? Boy, I end up tell them I was a student here. I'm about to graduate.
Wow.
So that's how God sorted it out. Now around that same time, of course, I was in close touch with some again, God gave me favor with the senior pastors I worked with. My current senior pastor, Pastor Jesse, he was my senior pastor when I became an elder in Gom, and he kept asking me, why don't you go to Bible school? Kazi, where will you belong here? Our current deputy bishop, there's one time he called me and he told me, Nelson, CITAM does not hire after 50. Before you get 50, can you graduate and come?
Yeah.
So I had all this, a lot of encouragement from people that I worked with. And at this point I knew, especially I remember after I met with Bishop Mugambi, that time he was a senior pastor at Valley Road. He called me when I came for one of the holidays. He called me and he told me, can you go and finalize everything? You tell them you are not going back. Come. And I think by this time, our mind was set. We knew this is it.
Yeah.
And here I am.
Here you are.
Yeah.
Serving and loving so much. I think what you talked about, the man who was for you, I think you've been that to my husband. And I really want to say thank you, really. I see him finding just a place where he comes. I remember that time you guys had a meeting for like 3 hours. I'm like, what were you doing? And he was so excited and charged. And I know when he lights up, something good was happening then. He had such wise counsel. He was so, how he goes. Like, I feel like sometimes if he's naughty, I'm just like, go hug Pastor Nelson.
Please go ahead. Anytime.
It's so good. And you've been that to us. In family dynamics, we really want people to heal. And what is that one area that you see you've had progress in healing this far?
Let me say, true healing comes when you are authentic. When you are authentic to the pain that you have. A lot of wounds remain unhealed because we just bandage on top. I will tell you that it has been very difficult for me to heal from the loss of my dad. It's now 30 what? Those who do mathematics.
I'm counting yours.
39 years,
Yeah.
I guess. You're
Yeah.
getting to 39, 38 years
Yeah.
ago. And that loss, you cannot just ignore it. You have to be intentional about your healing. You have first of all to appreciate that this pain is real, because as I have raised up my children, I know I have picked a lot of lessons from what I observed my dad and what I have observed my other dad do as they raise their children. And you can actually see that the fact that I had people to learn from, the fact that I had to be very intentional about having a father, I did not bury it, because if there is a fear that I have, even to date, I would not want my children to grow without a father. So I maximize in terms of, I ensure I am a father who is available for them. Sometimes I ask, what would my dad have been like when I was in high school? So for my last born son who is in high school, that is what I want to be. My girls are now in campus. I ask, what would dad have been like to me when I was in campus? And I am very intentional about being that to my children. I say I am very intentional. My parenting is greatly influenced by lack of the absence of my father, has greatly influenced, because some of the pains that I had nobody to share with, I am very intentional about being there. My children, we talk literally about everything. We have had conversations with them. We have, really, yesterday we were actually talking with my firstborn daughter when we were just having a conversation about why it is good, not what I would want, why it is good to marry, to get married early. And she was just laughing, and it's a conversation I find it easy to have with young people, and it starts at home. Yeah, I have those conversations even with my children. So it's been a long journey. It's been a long journey, and it's still not there. It's still not there. Because it is a prayer I make. I tell God I don't want to die young. I want to see my children's children.
May He answer that prayer.
I pray that prayer.
In Jesus' name.
Yes.
Amen.
I would want to see how my children, what kind of wives they will become. I pray for my sons-in-law, because I know they are somewhere. I would want to see that prayer answered. I pray for my grandchildren. I would want to see that prayer answered.
And it will be answered.
You know how to pray for me.
I know how to pray for you.
Amen.
Thank you so much. I want to put you now on the next segment that we put in a separate place, which is the hot seat. So many people have heard your story, and thank you. Thank you for being honest. Thank you for being vulnerable. Seeing you actually shed a tear makes me even connect with you more, because I'm like, you're actually a real human going through real emotions. But God has set you up in such a beautiful way to lead me. And so it's such a joy to have you here. And so Family Dynamics has such dynamic guests, like today's guest, Pastor Nelson. You can check him out. He preaches a lot in my church. Tuesday service at Valley Road. Let me just plug this, because this platform is for this. So every Tuesday at exactly 6 p.m., we have a service at Valley Road. It's so prompt. 7:40 utakuwa ushaanza kwenda nyumbani. It's such a beautiful time, and of course the Sunday services you can come and join. But that Tuesday service, I feel like it's where we've hung out a lot, to be honest. It's such a good space for you to just come, sit. You can sit anywhere. There's a pillow, you can kneel anywhere and just have a really good time with God. And God is really centered in this show. Somehow, by God's grace, most of my guests are just coming, really good. So watch this next segment, that is the hot seat. You can actually put it in your play. So after you watch this one, cue the hot seat. And now we're going to be having Pastor Reverend Dr. Bishop Nelson on it. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a comment, like, share, subscribe. Remember, we're shooting this at Tulivu Podcast Studios. We have this extended space that's just amazing for you to do your events and even have like live recordings like what we're doing right now. And it's such a joy to have that collaboration with also Lentille. It's French, man. Lentille. Lovely production house. This is definitely created by Kerry Kagiri wa Kamau, produced by Mr. Kamau himself. Thank you so much for watching, and an outreach arm of Vessels of Honor. Thank you so much, and goodbye. Say bye.
Bye-bye.
See you shortly.